Hello, it's Vanessa Webb, Stampin Up Demonstrator Australia with you here today. Thank you for joining us. Today we're going to be making a gorgeous card using the Pansy Petals Suite of products. Mostly we're going to be using the stamps and the matching dies that go with. There is also another set of dies which I'm bringing in called the Scalloped Contours dies, which actually comes from another bundle. But this one is one of those sets of dies that you'll be using universally because it has some fabulous frames and scalloped edges, as well as some dies that actually go around the stamp set that it coordinates with. I'm not going to be showing you the stamp set today, just wanted to show you the packet of dies. And it is my go-to set of dies when I'm just wanting to make a layered card similar to the one that we're doing today. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers if you include the bottom layer, which is the card base. And just a little heads up, I've cut down my card to make it American letter size because the larger die and also the smaller die that we're using today are actually designed to fit perfectly onto an American card size rather than our C6 size card. So just bear that in mind when you're creating with these dies. You may need to cut your cardstock down if you want the card to match and have a nice frame all the way around the dies as you've used them. So what I've done for my bottom 2 layers, I will show you these now while I've got them here. I've used the 2 largest dies from the Scallop Contours die set, and I have cut the smaller one out of white. For the card that I'm showing you, I'm actually not using the designer series paper because I've run out of that. I've used it so much. There is actually some brand new 6x6 designer series paper in all of the 5 new in colours, so have a look out for that in the back of the new catalogue. What I've done alternately is I've actually cut the large scallop rectangle out, and then I've used the Tasteful Textures 3D embossing folder to give it that lovely textured look, just to take the smoothness off the cardstock. So that will make a nice little layer there when I come to put my card together. Now I'm actually using the stamps for the first time in a video. I've actually made a video for my team where I used the designer series paper to create a really simple little card, and I'll just show you that card. I used just the Pansy Petals paper, and I've cut 3 little pansies out with the same dies, and the leaves, the 2 little leaves that I've used are cut out also with the same dies that will cut out the stamp. So it's really good to remember that you can do a really simple card with this suite, particularly if you have the papers. And yeah, I've just brought in a little greeting with another die from another set there too, and some of our gorgeous sheer open weave ribbon in that new in colour, which is called Fresh Freesia. Just gorgeous. Alrighty, so the colours that I'm using today are Highland Heather. You'll see some of these in the flowers. Gorgeous Grape, Daffodil Delight in the centre, Blackberry Bliss, Fresh Freesia, Rich Raspberry, and if I said Gorgeous Grape is one of the other purples. For the leaves, I've used the Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent, those 2 new in colours. So I'm going to show you how I create my flowers without the use of a Stamparatus. I know that you can use your Stamparatus, and in fact if you're going to do multiples of these flowers, I would recommend you positioning the stamps on your Stamparatus plates and using it that way. For our one-off card though, it is actually quite easy to line these up. So a little rule of thumb, you start off with the lightest colour first and the largest image on the stamp as well. So I'm just going to try and find my stamp set. No, I'll bring in the catalogue just to show you. So this is our larger image. That's the one with the more solid, the most photopolymer in the image if you like, and that's what I'm going to do with the light colour. So I've inked it up in Fresh Freesia, as you'll see, and I'll do it exactly the same as I've done it on the other little sheet so that we're not confused. And then the next colour is going to be Highland Heather. So I'm going to ink up this next stamp, which is the more mottled looking stamp, and I'm going to go over the top just so that I'm starting to layer the colours there, and you'll see that the pansy petal starts to take on a 3D look as we add more colours. I have also got Gorgeous Grape, which I'm going to stamp this little guy in. So that's this paler purple colour on the inside, and that just goes in the centre there. And then lastly, I've got Rich Raspberry for my centre, my very centre. So that's the smaller one again. And you're creating what's known as a little face for your pansy. I've re-inked my Gorgeous Grape in between these two projects. So the Gorgeous Grape is actually coming out a little bit darker, I can see now, but that's okay. And I'm just going to find my smaller pansy, the little dot that I have done in the middle, and that is using Daffodil Delight. So I'll ink that up quickly now, and I'll just stamp it in the middle to complete that pansy. Alrighty, so for the smaller one, I'm going to start off, we're doing two purple ones. So for the smaller one, I'm going to start off with the Highland Heather as my base colour. You'll see I've written the colours here. Hopefully you can read my writing. Then the next colour after that is Gorgeous Grape. So I will ink up my Gorgeous Grape, and that's going to come out quite dark, which is okay because I wanted it to stand out. And then in the middle, I have got Blackberry Bliss. So over here, there is the smaller little pansy face, which I'm going to stamp right in the middle of my little pansy. And the very centre is going to be the daffodil again. So both the pansies have a yellow centre, which makes it easy. Now this little stamp is super tiny, so you just want to make sure that you don't lose it as you're playing with it. If you want it a little bit darker, you can actually stamp it twice and kind of move the colour out a bit. That is okay. Alrighty, so there's my two pansies. And now the leaves. So I've got the two new in colours, Evening Evergreen and Soft Succulent. I'm going to start off with the paler colour first, and I'm going to use, the biggest stamp first as well. And the veins will be a little bit lighter. Sorry, a little bit darker. So I'll do there's actually a small leaf, a narrow leaf, and a fatter, shorter leaf. So I'm going to do the two leaves, and there's the overlays that I'm using. So I'll go again into the Soft Succulent, and I've actually done these the opposite of what they are here, but that's okay, as long as I match up my veins the correct way. So Evening Evergreen, which is the darker colour, I'm going to come in and use this one over the top of the long stamp, and then this one is the overlay for the shorter stamp, like that. So you see you get a lovely light and shade with those stamps, and the stamps really do all of the artistic work for you, which is fantastic. Now I've got a little tip to share with you today with your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. If you are having trouble with placing it on a table and having it sort of sliding around as you're trying to use it, one of my little tips that I'll share with you today is to use an adhesive sheet, what is it called? One of these sheets. Anyway, they're in the back of the catalogue. Silicone mat, that's the one. and it will stop it from sliding on your paper and stop it from sliding on your table. So I thought that was a nice little trick. I kind of invented that out of necessity the other day as we were doing a lot of embossing and cutting. And yeah, it worked a treat over at my Stampin' Cut and Emboss table. So I thought I'd share it with you today. So we've got, that might not actually fit there, or it might just fit there. We'll see how we go. And then we've got this little guy here. All right, so we should, if they're all spaced out far enough, we should be able to cut through these all in one go and adhere them to our project fairly quickly. So you can see that it is actually quite easy to line these stamps up and create some really beautiful effects with them, and they really do look like lifelike pansies. So here they are, all cut out and ready to put on. Let me show you some other pansies that I've done using a couple of different colours. I haven't written the colours on here, but you'll see just by changing up the base colour and layering different colours on top, you can get some quite different looking ones. So you can get the more black, blue looking pansies, turquoise, yellow, apricot coloured ones, pink ones, all different kinds. So you can either take your cue from nature or you can make up your own, whatever you prefer. Alrighty, so now is the time for me to put this card together. I'm just going to layer up the layers from the base card upwards. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to get the shading that you can see behind the pansies there. So I've got my blending brush and I'm going to grab the Fresh Freesia and my piece of Whisper White, and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a soft shading in the Fresh Freesia to give you something to layer your pansies onto, and it puts a bit of a shadow behind them as well. So we're going to pop them up on dimensionals, which will again make them a little bit 3D, and you will see that, yeah, it creates a nice shadow behind them, helps them to stand out a little bit better. Alrighty, so we've got use some black dimensionals. These kind of tend to disappear, which is great. So what I do is I use 3 for my large pansy, and I'll just pop that one down first, and then the other one, sorry, I will layer just over the top at a bit of an angle, and I'll only use 2 dimensionals for that one because it's a bit smaller, and even the small dimensionals would work if you wanted to use a few more. So there you go, there's my 2, and then I just get a little tiny bit of the multi-purpose glue and adhere the leaves straight down like that. So you've got a little bit of a up and down look with it. Not everything is at the same level. You can see just a little bit of that shading behind. And then come in with, I think I'll make this one a birthday card. So I'm going to use the same colour, Fresh Freesia, just so it's a little bit subtle up in that top left-hand corner where there's a bit of white space. I'll stamp the happy birthday. And that all gets layered on with some more dimensionals. So again, I'm just propping it up so that there's a bit of a shadow behind and you've got a bit of definition. Always put 1 in each corner and 1 in the middle, because you don't want to have your card sagging in the middle, especially if you're going to be sending it in the post. You want it to be nice and supported and still have that lovely professional 3D look. So I would then go and mount that straight on to my card base, which I've cut down, and that's just mounted straight on with glue, and this is the effect that you get. So there you go, some hints and tips on how to use our new Pansy Petals Suite. I'll be back with some more inspiration a little bit later on. But if you like this video, leave a comment and shoot me a follow, and I will see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.